because the next thing I knew is he had his hand on my face and was pretty much bashing my head into the brick building. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to cover a topic or a situation that happened to me about 5, almost 6 years ago. I was out with friends. We had a girls' night out. There was like 8 of us. It was a lot of fun, and we had dinner, and then we went to a bar. We had a good time, and some of my friends went home and walked to their cars after going to this bar. I was talked into going to my friend's house with 2 other girls, I believe, and this girl's guy friend. So I go to this house, and now mind you, my car at this point is in a garage close to where we had dinner, and my friend lives about, I don't know, a mile away, but a whole bunch of us walked to her house, and we had maybe another drink, and we just like were chit-chatting or whatever, and then they go to bed. I was thinking, I'm just gonna walk back to my car. And at this point, it was probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. But again, I didn't think anything of it. It didn't concern me. It didn't cross my mind that that might be a bad decision. And so yeah, I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna peace out. I'm gonna leave. And I did. And I was about, I guess, 2 blocks away from her house. And then I was kind of like, I had a gut just pit in my stomach. This probably was not a good idea. And I remember texting a friend of mine, and usually he's a night owl, and I was like, I'm just gonna text him and I don't know, whatever. And I texted him, I just have a really bad feeling. This is not a good idea. Why did I decide to walk home in the middle of the night? But again, this is a good area and I didn't think anything of it. So anyway, I walked across the pedestrian bridge, and I get across a street and back up onto a sidewalk, and I remember hearing something behind me and going kind of like this, and I saw somebody running. And my thought in my head, I can remember this, I was like, there's a jogger going by, I should step out of the way. So I kind of stepped to the right because I thought he was just gonna continue right past me. And then the next thing I know is I don't know if I heard something first or felt it first, but I just got engulfed in these arms, and it was kind of I was almost taken off my feet, and I remember leaving my feet because these arms like picked me up, and then I hear talking or yelling or something. I don't remember what he said, but I just remember this person being massive. Now my first thought was this guy that my friend had, and I had just left at my friend's house, had chased me down and was just playing a joke on me. That was my first thought. And that left in about half a second, because the next thing I knew is he had his hand on my face and was pretty much bashing my head into the brick building that I had just pretty much came up on. Now, your body does some amazing things when you are in a life or death situation or in a traumatic situation. I remember thinking very vividly, he's going to knock me unconscious, so I gotta scream my bloody lungs out. And so I just started screaming, and I said, help me, somebody help me, and just screaming at the top of my lungs, because in my mind, the force that he was hitting my head into the wall, he was going to knock me unconscious. So I'm going to scream, and hopefully somebody comes across my unconscious body from hearing my screams. So I'm screaming, and then he stops hitting my head, and we struggle. At least I think we struggled. Again, my brain at this point, I have very little memory of the specific details of what happened. I remember the timeline of events, but I don't have a clear picture in my head of what happened. I don't remember his face at all. I remember he had a black shirt on, and I remember we're struggling, and then at one point we must have fallen onto the ground and he was on top of me, because I had massive bruises on the front of my legs, which I mean, I don't know how else I would have got them. and I had scrapes on my back, on my side, on my arm. So yeah, I had all those bruises and scrapes on my body. And I remember him running away, and I don't even know if I heard the second person coming, but a second person appeared. I'm on the ground, I'm bleeding, my head is pounding, and I vaguely see this person, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? And they're like almost yelling at me, and I'm just laying there like, no, I'm not okay. Somebody just attacked me. And he just stares at me for a second, and I kid you not, he grabs my purse that had fallen and takes off. So this stranger who I thought was there to save me took advantage of the situation and bolts with my purse. Thankfully, because I was texting my friend, my phone had been in my hand and had fallen. The screen broke, but I was able to call 911. My battery, of course, was almost dead, but I talked to the dispatcher until help arrived. And thank God for that dispatcher. She calmed me down so much. And in the process of me actually talking to the dispatcher, 2 other men showed up because they heard my screams as well. And I just remember saying, stay away from me, do not come close. I don't know who you are, because at this point I had just been attacked, and then the first person who I thought showed up to help stole my purse, and I'm just thinking, I don't know what you two are gonna do. And so they called 911 as well, but apparently they just decided that they didn't want to possibly have to go to court later or whatever, and they also took off. So there's me sitting on the sidewalk, because at this point my legs, I was shaking so bad I could not stand. I'm sitting on the sidewalk and I'm by myself in the middle of the night after just being attacked. I was freaking out because I'm just thinking, this attacker is going to come back. The dispatcher was like, you know, help's on the way, don't get off the phone with me. And then I remember looking up because I heard something, and there's a lady pretty much hanging out the window. Are you okay? You know, what's going on down there? And she just did not come out. I don't know why, but I don't know if she thought it was a domestic dispute or something, but I just sat there on the sidewalk until police arrived. A couple cop cars came and one of them had the, you know, canine. So they took off to the direction that I told them he ran away from me at. I thought anyway, because again, my brain, I don't remember everything. I just said, I think he ran that way. And yeah. So what happened next is a call came into the radio saying, get her here. We have something. So get into the police car, we go to this alley, the dogs are there, and they were like, is this what he was wearing? And I go, actually yes. And it was a black shirt and it had some kind of white print, and I said, yes, that is. And in my head I'm thinking, what is he wearing? Because all of his clothes, jeans, t-shirt, glasses, literally everything was phone. They had a phone. I mean, this dude dropped everything and ran, literally naked. So 5 seconds later, or maybe a couple minutes later, another call comes in saying, get her up to the street. We found a man running naked. So they bring me up there and they put a spotlight on him. I'm sitting in the car, he can't see me, and they get him and he has this like brown robe on. And they were like, is this him? And I said yes. And it all kind of like hit me. This guy is huge. Like, he was probably, I mean, he was well over 6 foot tall. I'm 5'3". As this all was happening, I'm in the car. A cop comes over to the driver's side door and he like peers in, and I look at his face, and at that point I freaking lost it, because it was a coworker or previous coworker of mine who's now obviously a cop. And so I know this person on a one-on-one basis. We had a friendship, and here I am, bruised, bleeding, sitting in the front of a police car after just being attacked. All like just hit me, and I just remember crying, and him coming over and giving me a hug. It just felt, I'm so glad that he was there, because it definitely helped. While the whole situation is happening with the police, they asked if I wanted an ambulance. I said no. And then afterwards, I was trying to go to sleep and I had a headache. I was nauseous. I went to the emergency room, had a horrible evaluation by some doctor, and was told I didn't have a concussion. Later to find out that I did, just based on all the symptoms that I did have and actually currently still have. But the most traumatic, aside from the actual assault that happened to me by this stranger, is the reactions from just people in general I got. What were you wearing? Why were you walking to your car alone? What were you thinking walking to your car at night, in the middle of the night? Just those kinds of questions are never something that you want to hear people asking you, because you feel in that situation like, oh my gosh, this incident is now my fault. Even though a grown man attacked me and violently assaulted me, you still get that feeling like you're to blame. And that was really hard for me to overcome. I did go to a couple counseling sessions. I contacted the Center for Victims of Violent Crime, and they hooked me up with free counseling, and they had an advocate come to court to kind of walk me through the court process. All in all, the guy, the perpetrator, ended up getting literally a slap on the wrist. According to the prosecutor, I pretty much had to be near dead for him to get jail time. All of his felony charges got dropped to misdemeanors. He got probation and mandatory drug and alcohol treatment because he was on crack at the time of the assault. And he pretty much is a free man. It's like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, I have to live with this, forever. I don't ever consider myself a victim. I consider myself a survivor. But the point of this video is to share with you my situation and to encourage you, if you know somebody that has gone through anything similar, an attack, any kind of violent situation, never question them. Never accuse them of doing something wrong, because they didn't. Sorry if the lighting is different. My camera battery died, so I had to charge it for a few minutes. I want people to not question anyone who's been through a horrific experience such as myself. Don't put blame on that person. Don't question what they were wearing or why they did what they did to get themselves in the situation that they were in. It doesn't matter, because they were the person it happened to. They were the victim, or they are the survivor. I can talk about it 99.9% of the time without getting emotional. Lasting effects, I definitely still get nervous at times when I'm outside at night. Even when I have Zeke, if I'm walking him and it's 9-10 o'clock at night, I occasionally get the pounding heart, the feeling of, I gotta get inside. My concentration is not anywhere near what it was in the past. I used to be able to read a book like front to back, and I have a very hard time reading 10 pages now. It has gotten better, but my concentration has definitely taken a nosedive because of what happened, and nightmares or flashbacks. I could be randomly sitting there at home, and all of a sudden the feeling of being attacked and what I can remember, the bits and pieces, definitely come flooding back, and I get the pounding heart. But it doesn't. It's becoming more and more scarce or rare for that to happen. But yeah, that's what happened to me, and again, why I wanted to share that with you. If you have any questions about this, I'm more than willing to, talk about it more. If you have been through a similar experience, know that you're not alone, and if you want to share as well, you are more than welcome. I don't like hearing other people's scary stories or situations that happened to them, because obviously that's sad that it happened, but I definitely feel not as alone when I hear that this has happened to other people. So that's another reason why I'm sharing it. You're not alone. If you want to see more videos, I post a video at least once a week, and they are typically about veganism and minimalism, because that is now a big part of my life, or at least it's, you know, I'm trying for it to be. And, you know, self-development and things that I want to share with you personally and things like that. I would love for you to hit that little red subscribe button, and I will catch you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.